They don't want you to know this about women. Stay with me, because the truth waiting at the end will make you see conversations, control, and attraction in a way you've never dared to before. Niccolo Machiavelli wasn't a dating coach. He wasn't writing books to teach men how to text women, but he understood power. He understood how to hold it, how to use it, and how to make people reveal themselves without them realizing it. And that's exactly what most men miss with women. Because here's the dark truth. Women don't just respond to attraction. They respond to curiosity. They respond to tension. They respond to questions that make them reveal more than they plan to, without feeling like they're being interrogated. I've seen it over and over. Most men kill attraction, not because they say the wrong things, but because they say nothing that creates emotional movement. Machiavelli's genius wasn't in tricking people. It was in making them show you what you needed to know, while thinking it was their choice. When you apply this to conversations with women, you realize that most of what men ask are safe questions, boring, predictable, forgettable. But the right questions, asked the right way, can create fascination, tension, and even obsession. This is why I call these the 9 questions that drive a woman crazy. Not because they're manipulative, but because they hit the one part of attraction most men ignore: the mind. A woman doesn't stay up at night replaying a man's compliments. She stays up at night replaying the moments he made her think differently. Machiavelli understood that questions are more powerful than statements, because questions force someone to participate in the interaction. And participation is where investment begins. I've seen this shift everything. When I stopped talking to women like I was trying to impress them and started asking questions that made them reveal themselves, I stopped being just another guy. The wrong men will use these questions as tricks. The right men will use them as a filter, because the way she answers will tell you everything you need to know about her. And that's the other reason these questions work. They're not just about attraction, they're about clarity. Most men wait months to see a woman's true nature. These questions reveal it in minutes. And here's the most Machiavellian part of all. You don't have to push for answers. The right question, asked once, will echo in her head long after the conversation ends. That's how you create the kind of curiosity that stays. Here's the first mistake men make, and it's the one that kills attraction before it even starts. They treat questions like a checklist. How's your day? What do you do? Where are you from? These questions aren't wrong, they're just forgettable. Machiavelli would laugh at this, because in his world, every question was a tool, not a formality. Here's the frame breaker. If your questions don't reveal something or create tension, they're not worth asking. This is why the first 3 questions are designed not to gather information, but to create curiosity. Question 1. What's something most people completely misunderstand about you? This question works because it forces her to think differently. It bypasses her default answers and makes her reveal how she sees herself, while also showing that you're not like the guys who only ask surface-level questions. Machiavelli would appreciate this because it subtly shifts the power. She's now the one justifying her perception of herself to you. Question 2. If I spent 1 week shadowing your life, what's the first thing that would surprise me? This question is powerful because it blends curiosity with subtle challenge. It assumes there's more to her than what she shows, and women want to be seen as layered. When she answers, she's revealing how she wants to be perceived, which tells you more than the facts themselves. Question 3. When was the last time you felt completely alive? This one works on 2 levels. First, it forces her to recall a strong emotional memory, which creates a state change in the conversation. Second, it positions you as someone who's interested in the depth of her experiences, not just the surface. And here's the genius. She now subconsciously associates that feeling of being alive with the conversation she's having with you. Most men think women want constant validation, but Machiavelli would say they want stimulation, emotional, mental, and psychological. These first 3 questions don't just create interest, they create emotional momentum. And emotional momentum is what keeps a woman thinking about you long after you've left. Here's the second mistake men make, and it's one that Machiavelli would tear apart instantly. Men think curiosity should only flow in one direction. They spend the whole interaction trying to get her interested, but never once use the conversation to test her. And this is where respect quietly disappears. Machiavelli understood something men in relationships often forget. The one asking the right questions is the one holding the frame. If you only ask safe, easy questions, you're not just avoiding tension, you're avoiding the truth. And this is where the toxic woman warning comes in. Because some women are magnetic on the surface, but destructive underneath. You don't see it until months later, unless you know how to pull it out early. The next 3 questions aren't just about attraction. They're about clarity, and they will drive the wrong woman insane while pulling the right woman closer. Question 4. What's the biggest red flag in someone that most people overlook? Her answer here tells you everything about her standards. If she points out things that align with your values, you're in sync. If she ignores massive warning signs, you know what you're dealing with. Question 5. If someone asked your ex what it was like to date you, what would they say? This is my personal favorite because it forces her to reveal how she wants to be perceived. It also shows whether she can own her flaws or if she plays the victim. Machiavelli would love this one because it's a subtle power test. She has to respond to a frame she didn't expect. Question 6. What's one thing you'd never tolerate in a relationship, no matter how much you loved someone? Her answer reveals her boundaries, her triggers, and her long-term compatibility. If she has no boundaries, that's a red flag. If her boundaries are aligned with yours, you've just deepened the connection. Here's the part most men don't understand. These questions aren't tricks, they're filters. You're not asking to impress her. You're asking to see if she can even handle being in your life. That's why the wrong woman will feel defensive, because deep down, she knows her answers expose her. And the right woman will feel respect, because she knows you're not just another man seeking approval. Here's where Machiavelli's brilliance meets the most misunderstood part of attraction, the natural tension between the masculine and the feminine. The feminine doesn't respect a man who avoids tension. It respects a man who can hold tension without collapsing. These last 3 questions are designed to create exactly that. Tension she feels but can't quite resolve. And that's what makes them unforgettable. These are not surface-level getting-to-know-you questions. These are questions that make her reveal things she didn't plan on revealing. And once she answers them, she'll keep replaying the moment in her head. Question 7. What's the one decision in your life you'd make differently if no one could judge you for it? This question creates vulnerability and tension in one strike. It bypasses her polished story and gets to the part of her she doesn't show everyone. She may hesitate before answering. That hesitation is where the bond is formed. Question 8. If someone truly knew you, what would they be most shocked to discover? The genius here is that it assumes she has something beneath the surface. This isn't a random icebreaker. It forces her to reveal depth, mystery, or even contradiction. And women rarely forget the men who invite that part of them out. Question 9. What's the one thing you secretly wish someone would dare to ask you? This is the final move. Because now she's telling you what she wants to talk about, but rarely gets to. The second she shares this, you've stepped into a level of intimacy that most men never touch. Here's the Machiavellian truth. These questions don't just drive her crazy because of the answers. They drive her crazy because of what they imply about you. You're not like the men who talk at her. You're not like the men who follow her script. You're the man who moves the conversation into places she doesn't expect and doesn't forget. And the best part, you never had to force it. You only had to ask the right questions. Machiavelli didn't write about dating, but if he were alive today, he'd tell you exactly what these 9 questions prove. The man asking the right questions holds the frame. Women don't lose respect for men because they're curious. They lose respect for men because their curiosity is shallow, predictable, and approval-seeking. These 9 questions drive a woman crazy, not because they're manipulative, but because they show you're a man who's not afraid to make her think, reveal, and even feel a little unsettled. That's rare, and rarity is magnetic. Machiavelli understood that the one who sets the frame decides the game. In relationships, the man who can ask the right questions isn't chasing her attention, he's making her invest. And investment is the foundation of respect. I've lived both sides of this. I've been the man who asked surface questions, stayed safe, and got forgotten. And I've been the man who asked deeper questions, pulled truth to the surface, and watched women lean in without realizing why. The difference isn't charm, it's intention. The wrong men use these questions to get a reaction. The right men use them to get clarity, and the reaction follows naturally. That's the Machiavellian truth. You don't have to convince her to value you. You simply have to show her that your world is worth stepping into. If this shifted something in you, like the video to anchor it. Subscribe if you're done fighting the wrong way and ready to lead with calm strength. And if you know a man who needs to hear this, send it to him. This is Depthoria, for men who choose emotional intelligence over chaos. We'll see you in the next depth.